All right, let's talk about something that so many of us get stuck in, overthinking. We're going to look at it through the lens of Jungian psychology, and I think it's going to uncover what's really going on when you feel trapped in your own head. So, let's dive in.
You know that feeling, right? You're weighing every single possible outcome, obsessing over every tiny detail. Maybe you're lying awake at night, just caught in this endless maze of your own thoughts. You tell yourself, hey, I'm just being careful, I'm being logical, but what if that's not the whole story? What if it's not even close?
On the surface, yeah, it totally feels like you're just doing some responsible planning. But the perspective we're exploring today suggests something way, way deeper is at play. This isn't really about finding the perfect answer. It's actually a desperate attempt by your ego to keep control and to avoid feeling some pretty terrifying emotions that are bubbling just beneath the surface.
Okay, so let's break down the nature of this trap, because it's a really sophisticated one. I mean, it's built by your own mind to make you feel safe, but in reality, it just keeps you stuck.
And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the matter. When you're constantly stuck in your head, you're not actually solving problems. You're running from your feelings. You know, our culture praises rationality. It tells us to think our way out of pain. But so often, our thinking is the escape route from the very emotions we actually need to face.
So why? Why do we build this trap in the first place? Well, to get that, we need to look at two really fundamental concepts from the psychologist Carl Jung, the persona and the shadow. These two ideas pretty much explain the architecture of our inner world.
First up, there's the persona. The easiest way to think about this is like your public face. It's the curated, polished version of yourself that you show to the world. It's the mask you learn to wear, maybe way back in childhood, just to fit in, to be accepted, and to survive socially.
And then there's the shadow. If the persona is the public-facing living room, the shadow is the basement of your unconscious. It's where you've shoved all the parts of yourself that didn't fit that perfect persona. All the raw, messy, unacceptable stuff like intense anger, deep grief, or that paralyzing fear.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Your ego is terrified. I mean, absolutely terrified that those repressed shadow emotions might escape and just shatter your carefully crafted persona. So it builds a fortress to keep them contained. And what are the bricks of that fortress made of? Endless circular thoughts. Overthinking is literally the sound of the guards patrolling the walls.
So here's the twist. This mental fortress, built brick by brick with obsessive thoughts to protect you, it actually becomes your prison. It goes from a defense system to an internal saboteur.
You think you're being rational, but what you're really doing is using logic to numb yourself. And this saboteur, it gets loudest right when you're about to take a risk or step into the unknown, what Jung might call the creative void. It keeps you busy analyzing so you never ever have to face the pure uncertainty and vulnerability of actually growing.
Let's make this super concrete. This table just lays it all out. Look at that first row. The situation is deciding on a career change. The rational overthinking sounds totally reasonable. I need to research every possible outcome and make the perfect choice. But what's the hidden emotion? It's a deep fear of the unknown, a fear of failure. Or how about the next one? You get a vague text. Your mind just spins, right? Analyzing every single word. Why? Because the hidden emotion is anxiety about rejection or conflict. The logic is just a cover story. It's a distraction.
So that critical voice in your head, you know the one that tells you you're not good enough before you even start something new, that isn't the truth. It's not. It's just the echo of old wounds, of past rejections and experiences that you haven't fully processed yet. So, okay, we've mapped out the fortress, we've met the saboteur inside. The obvious question is, how do we get out? Well, the path to freedom isn't about thinking harder or building better walls. It's actually the complete opposite.
Jung himself gave us the key right here. He said we cannot change anything until we accept it. The very first step isn't to fight or resist or analyze your way out. It's just to accept that the feelings are there.
What this really means is that you have to stop using your thoughts as a shield. That intellectual escape route you've been using, it's a dead end. The only way out is through. It's about being willing to finally lower the drawbridge of that mental fortress and just feel the raw emotions you've been so desperately running from.
Jung actually had a name for this process. He called it active imagination, and we can break it down into 3 simple steps. First, just stop fighting your mind. Notice the thoughts, but don't get on the roller coaster with them. Step 2, invite the emotion in. Instead of pushing that anxiety away, get curious. Just say, okay, you're here. What do you feel like in my body? And third, dialogue with the shadow. Now, this might sound a little weird, but it's so powerful. Sit quietly and ask that fear or that anger, what are you trying to tell me? What do you need from me? You're not trying to solve it, you're just listening.
And that brings us to the most important part of all of this. This isn't just some interesting psychological theory. It's a choice. And it's a choice that is available to you right now in this very moment.
And let's be really clear about something. Your analytical mind is an absolutely brilliant and necessary tool. It helps you navigate the world, it helps you solve complex problems and create amazing things.
But it makes a terrible, terrible master. When your intellect is the one running the entire show, you end up living in this tiny, walled-off part of your own being, completely cut off from the richness, the intuition, and the vitality of your full self.
And that really leaves you with a fundamental question. Are you going to continue to live just in your head, playing out these endless mental chess games while your actual life passes you by? Or will you choose to cross that bridge of fear, step out of the illusion of control, and truly fully inhabit your life?
That choice is yours, and it exists right now. So, to make it real, to kind of anchor this idea for yourself, make a symbolic declaration. This isn't for me, it isn't for anyone else, it's a commitment to you. Just naming an intention gives it power. So let this be the first conscious step out of that fortress. A new way of being doesn't start with some complicated 10-step plan. It starts with a simple choice.